Why do you think we're so conditioned to push in January? Why are we so conditioned that way to push in January?
I think it's a fresh set of months that you want to put an impression on as soon as you can. It's a fresh perspective. It's a blank slate, really. Unless you've been able to look ahead in the year and maybe book a getaway or something, but it's typically a fresh slate. It's typically empty, and I think what we do is we think about, well, how, what am I doing February? What am I doing March? What am I doing April? And as a retired person, um, I think we look at those empty days and say, oh, we gotta get going on clubs and whatever we're doing and fill up that calendar because we're used to doing that when we worked.
Right.
And but it seems to me as though we do that too quickly. In my opinion, I think we do it too quickly because we don't allow the universe, if you want, to bring us the things that we can put on the calendar.
Hello. Welcome. This is In Season, a podcast about conversations on work, wisdom, and becoming across generations. So I'm your host, Kendra Court. I'm a career coach and author. This is my mama.
Hello.
Susan Garrett-Schuster, also an author. Also a coach in many ways, mediator, counselor, minister.
Yeah. I feel like I've coached.
Yeah. And so this is In Season. This is our podcast. And so I'm here with my mama, as I said, 70-something, wiser than ever, and has recently gone back to work. She decided retirement was optional. And this month on our podcast, instead of talking about hustle and sort of the typical things we talk about in January, goals and reinvention, we're doing something a little radical. We're talking about rest and about winter and about hibernation and sort of the natural tendency of this season, this energy of this particular season. January asks us to sprint. Society, I think, in January asks us to sprint, but nature is asking us to slow down, to go inward, to reflect, to listen. And so today's conversation is about honoring that season, honoring the season that we're actually in, not just biologically, but emotionally, spiritually, and trusting that rest is not falling behind. It's really preparation. So it's preparation for the season that is supposed to be reinvention and growth, which is the spring, and we'll get to that in the spring. So for now, we're in the preparation season. We're in hibernation. And so if you're feeling tired, that's why. If you're feeling tired, if you're feeling unmotivated, or if you feel like, you didn't come out of the gate swinging this January, you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're in the right place. And let's talk about why. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. The theme, as I said, for this podcast for this January is rest, seasonality, inner wisdom, resting, and maybe resetting the January pressure. So without further ado, when you think of January, because this really came up over Christmas, my mom offered this reframe for me because I was feeling some resistance to the January hustle over Christmas. And I was like, oh, Mom, January, I got to set goals and I got to get after it. And she's like, well, or
it is winter,
right? And so when you think about January, what does your body want right now? Like, if you're honest.
Well, I'm in the winter of my life, if you want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm naturally tired.
Fair. That's
So,
fair.
but I think, and my birthday's in January, so you know, it's always a season for me of going inward, I think. And, I want warmth and blankets and hot drinks and stew and soup. I don't want to look at a salad.
Yeah, actually.
I don't want to see cold lettuce on a plate. I want I want to see pea soup and tomato soup, and that's how my body yearns. And I think our bodies tell us as the seasons go, because in the summer nobody eats soup. At least
Yeah, that's
most
true,
people.
actually.
Yeah,
I mean,
most people don't make soup or stew or things like that in the summer. You're
yeah.
all about the light salads and this, things on the barbecue, lots of fruit. But in the winter, you just want that,
Cozy.
cozy, lots of potatoes, lots of starch, you know.
Yeah. So it sounds like you don't succumb to the pressure of January. Like
Well,
do
yeah,
you feel any pressure to do more
I
at the
think,
start of the year?
and I think that's a season of our life as well, not just a season of the year.
Ah.
But I think the season of our life also informs us about, if the season of your life coincides with the season of the year, you're done. Because I think I am in the winter of my life, and if you want to look at it that way, and I'll admit it, I am slower than I used to be. I don't get up at 6 in the morning like you do, and I don't have kids to get off to school. And so,
Unless mine missed the bus.
unless yours missed the bus, that's true. But we get up at sort of 8:30, depending on when the dog is whining to go out, and we'll sit over coffee for half an hour or an
Sounds
hour.
luxurious.
I know, but that's of the season of our life. It's slower. It's more about what we want, what we like, versus what we have to do.
Right.
You know.
I know, and I feel that, and I wonder how can people that are in my season of life still honor the energy of the winter season, because many of my clients this month have been talking about already feeling behind, like if they didn't hit the
Oh.
ground running, if they didn't set the New Year's resolutions, or maybe their New Year's resolutions were aggressive, like it was impossible to live up to, and so they've already fallen off, the rails. And so I think there's naturally, especially in the coaching space, there's this sort of pressure to, do more at the start of the year, which, our conversation over the holidays seems counterintuitive to the actual season.
To the energies.
Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, I think the energies are slower. At least it feels that way to me. If you watch children, their play is different in the winter. They don't get to stay out in the yard until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, because there's no light anymore.
Right.
And there's no light for them to be outside, so they're inside, and then they're on the couch or watching TV. They're not running around playing. And so everything changes. The whole energy of everything changes. And so I think if you're seeing your kids lying around watching television, and you're going, "Oh, come on, like, let's get going, let's do something." But they're feeling that change of light and change of warmth, and they're
Right.
feeling it too.
Right.
So
Now, I mean, we're in Canada, so the winter season looks different for us than maybe in some other countries. But our winter season, January, that we're in, everything's hibernating, right? The plants, the animals. We have a blanket of snow. We're looking out my office window right now, and there's a whole blanket of snow. So I think it's almost like we as a society have almost done a disservice to people, giving them the message that January is about renewal and January is about resetting. And what you illuminated for me is it's really not. Like, if we follow the seasonal energy, if we follow sort of cyclically what happens over the course of the year, this season is really about going inward and slowing down and maybe being a bit quieter and slower pace. But that feels, I think, from what for me anyway, that feels counterintuitive for my productivity and goal setting and achievement, right? Accomplishment doesn't happen if I'm sitting on the couch being lazy, right?
Oh, being lazy.
Right, but I wonder where that comes from.
Yeah, I mean, I could count on one hand the number of times I ever saw my own mom off her feet in the daytime. And I think one of those times was when she was expecting her fourth baby, my sister. And I came home from school and she was lying on the couch. She was about 6 or 7 months pregnant, and it was late winter, probably February or March, and we were in Ottawa, and it was cold and nasty, and she just crawled onto the couch, pulled up a blanket, and it was a shock because I hardly ever had seen her off her feet in the daytime. You know?
Yeah, fair.
And
so that would have been weird.
Yeah, so it was really strange, and yet, and I think, as I recall, she was apologetic about, oh, you caught me, or something like that,
The guilt.
The guilt of being off her feet in the daytime. And,
well, that's when you just picked up on the word lazy that I used, right?
Yeah.
That's the judgment, right? That's the message in my head. Like, if I slow down, if I rest, then that's lazy somehow. And I had to actually fight that. So it's a Monday right now as we're recording this, and I have book club on Wednesday, and I hadn't finished my book yet. And so yesterday, Sunday, I gave myself permission to be on the couch under a blanket and finishing my book.
Great.
Which I don't know if I didn't have the deadline of getting the book finished by Wednesday for book club, I don't know that I would have been able to give myself the permission.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have really felt unproductive or felt lazy. So why do you think we're so conditioned to push in January? Why are we so conditioned that way to push in January?
I think it's a fresh set of months that you want to put an impression on as soon as you can. It's a fresh perspective. It's a blank slate, really. Unless you've been able to look ahead in the year and maybe book a getaway or something, but it's typically a fresh slate. It's typically empty. And I think what we do is we think about, well, how, what am I doing February? What am I doing March? What am I doing April? And, as a retired person, I think we look at those empty days and say, oh, we gotta get going on clubs and whatever we're doing and fill up that calendar, because we're used to doing that when we worked.
Right.
And but it seems to me as though we do that too quickly, in my opinion. I think we do it too quickly because we don't allow the universe, if you want, to bring us the things that we can put on the calendar. We go, oh, too bad, it's already full.
Right. There's no spaciousness. We don't allow for that spaciousness.
There's no space to put things.
Right.
So, I think we're we're all guilty, if you want to use that word, which I hate using, but we look at the week and we say, okay, well, I'm doing my writing group and I'm doing my book club and I'm doing my yoga and I'm doing this and that, and you kind of fill every little slot, and I don't know, we're conditioned to do that. I'm not sure where that comes from.
Right. But it is a conditioning. Like, it's not just in the coaching space, although I feel like my industry definitely pushes it more, right? Goals, New Year's resolutions, plan your calendar, all that sort of thing. Look at your whole year, plan it out, right? And there's something to, obviously, that push energy because, as a former athlete, like, performance, right? And as a former salesperson, right? If you're not goal setting, if you're not setting those agendas, then obviously performance, accomplishment, achievement doesn't happen, right? Or it's less likely to happen if you don't set that agenda. But what gets lost if we ignore the seasonality, do you think? Like, if like this idea of winter as a time for rest, if we follow nature, right? We're in tune with nature, there's a flow to that. So what gets lost if we ignore that seasonality?
Well, I think creativity suffers. I think clearly there's no time or space to let your mind wander a little bit. The way kids do, daydreaming, right? I don't know how many times in school I got caught and told that I was daydreaming. What are you daydreaming for? Pay attention.
Yeah.
And I think kids are really good at it. Like, I think kids, when they're bored especially, they daydream.
Yeah.
And I think that's an awesome thing for us to do. Like, maybe we need to get more bored. I don't know. But
I definitely think there's something to that.
To daydreaming or getting bored?
Both. Both. Like, they say, researchers, that when they've researched boredom as a phenomenon, that's where innovation comes from.
Ah, right.
To your point about creativity.
Yeah, creativity.
When you're bored and you're your brain is kind of forced to connect the dots differently, or look for things to fill that boredom space. That's actually where innovation, and so I can't remember if it was a Harvard study, I can't remember if it was like Harvard Business Review or somewhere.
Okay.
Actually, it's kind of dire, but the next generation, like our sort of my kids' generation, if we don't crack the code on allowing them to get bored, innovation is going to plummet.
Wow.
Like the advancements that our generations have seen, right, with regards to whether it's tech advancements or inventions or things like that. The biggest innovations come out of boredom.
Yeah, and I've noticed we have a cottage on a lake in northern Ontario, and I've noticed when the kids are there, they kind of want me to be the camp director,
Oh, yes.
Like, what are we going to do now, Nanny? What are we going to do now? And I'll say, well, we're just going to hang out. We're just going to go to the beach, sit on the rocks, look at the water. But what are we going to do, Nanny? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And one time Grace said, Nanny, I'm really bored. And I said, that's great. That's really great. She didn't like that answer.
Yeah.
But
can imagine.
I mean, if you have an opportunity to sit on a rock and just stare at the water or look at the sky, all kinds of things happen, right?
Yeah.
And in the winter, the kids don't have as much of a chance to go out and just hang out in the snow and get a little bored, They're skiing or they're skating or they're playing hockey, all of those things. But they're very often not without a program,
Right.
right?
How was rest? Because as you're saying this, like I don't know. I mean, I talk about with my kids. I talk about sleep at night being restorative, and if they don't, like, we're pretty militant about bedtime. So we're like, you know, my kids are often saying, "Oh, well, my friends get to go to bed later." I'm like, "Great, I don't really care because this is when we're going to bed."
Because I want to go to bed after my children.
Right. But we really emphasize the importance of rest being restorative and how our bodies heal and how our bodies grow and all of that. I don't recall you and I talking about rest when I was younger. It's not a memory I have, but do you have memories? Like, how was rest talked about or not talked about when you were younger?
Well, I think I followed the modeling that my mother showed.
Which was go.
Which was morning. She had 4 children to get off to school. And even in high school, she was making our lunches. You know, really? And we let her, but, you know, she was full-time running the household. And I think modeling that, she was from morning literally till she went to bed. She was either ironing, sewing, cooking. She made clothes. She baked from scratch. I mean, women in those days didn't have the option of going to get ready-made food.
Yeah.
And so they were cooking from scratch. And they worked hard.
Mm-hmm.
They worked hard. And so we transfer that to our careers, and we do the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Which is probably what causes burnout.
Yeah.
Right?
Completely.
So you don't have a memory of rest being talked about?
Not in the daytime. Not in the daytime.
Yeah.
No, not at all. And I mean, even like the concept of a hammock. I mean, I never even saw a hammock until I was an adult.
Yeah. Lay in a hammock.
What's a hammock? I didn't know what that was. But
so as a woman of faith, you know, we can get into how you came to your faith and so on in a minute, but in faith or in like spiritual practice, what role does stillness play? Like stillness or silence, like this concept of hibernation right now, this winter season. I think perhaps the way we can incorporate it in our modern age is through stillness or through you know, silence, stillness, quiet. So in faith or in a spiritual practice, what role does that play?
And you know, that's interesting that you asked that, because in my early career as a minister, I'm a United Church minister, retired, but rejoined. In my early career, it was all about the 60-hour week. You know, it was about, you know, you've already worked your 35 or 40 hours, but then you've got, you know, 2 funerals, a wedding, you've got to go to the nursing home. It wasn't unusual to work 50, 60 hours. I was young, so, you know, you just kept going, and, you know, you did the job, you did what you were supposed to do, you didn't stop, you didn't say, sorry, hold your crisis till next week, I've done my hours, you know. Put that body, oh no, I won't say that. So I think that early life in the religious life was the same thing. It was busy, busy, busy all the time. And I do think that's an advance the church has made now, in that they are setting strict limits of 40 hours a week now. And so
which I think a lot of companies are like,
yeah.
Before I started my own coaching practice in the career space, I worked in a coaching practice for someone else, and our focus was burnout.
Yeah.
So executive women specifically in burnout, and to your point about 60-hour work weeks,
that's what they were doing.
That's what they were doing. I mean, 60, 70, 80 in
Yeah.
a lot of cases. And not getting their own needs met, right? Not filling their cup.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the analogies that I pulled from you and the faith-based world, right? It's a sort of a psalm, maybe, but like my cup runneth over. And the idea that like what's in the cup is for me and the runneth over part is for others. And so if your cup is not running over, you have nothing to give, right? So it's like, fill your cup first, right? Or your husband is a pilot or retired, but put your mask on first is what they say on an airplane. So, you know, get yourself to a place where you're secure and safe and solid, and then you can help the people, right?
Yeah.
So fill your cup and then help the people.
Yeah.
But I guess in the world, in the spiritual world, so not from a career standpoint, because you have the career lens of being a minister, but from maybe your parishioners or what is the message in the faith community? Like what role does silence play, or what role does stillness play? Like as an educational tool maybe, or like how would you talk to parishioners about it?
And I want to say that in my younger years, silence and stillness wasn't talked about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not in the Protestant United Church of Canada. I mean, if we're talking, you know, the nuns and that life, then we're talking stillness and prayer. Prayer and singing and stillness was part of their day. Really, I think in the Protestant churches, it's only been, I would say, a decade or two.
Yeah.
That a decade or two that we've been talking about meditation, contemplative prayer, and that's an interesting thing because meditation is always associated with the Eastern religions, you know, Hinduism, Buddhism, and so it's interesting that the Christian churches to give themselves a little space between Hinduism and Buddhism. We don't call it meditation, we call it contemplative prayer.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, and I mean, you know, meditation is becoming more of an acceptable term, but, you know, we don't want to sound too Eastern in our concept. So, but I think, you know, having those moments through the day, and in Rohinton Mystery's book called A Fine Balance, which I highly recommend, he has meditation periods throughout. He has meditation breaks, like not coffee breaks, but meditation breaks. So a 15-minute morning break, a 15-minute afternoon break, and they're not coffee breaks, they're meditation breaks.
Oh, that's cool.
And so he works in this, I think it's a travel documents office or something, and he's got his little sign that he puts on the counter, meditation break.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Unapologetically
Just has got it out there because it is India,
right?
So that makes sense. So people come in and they say, oh, he's on his meditation break, and somebody says, yeah, you wouldn't like him if he didn't do his meditation break.
Oh, so it's just not even an option not to.
No. So I thought that stuck out for me. The book is about that thick, but that stuck out for me, and I still remember it. So obviously, it stuck with me as a practice.
Yes.
Right.
And I remember in my 20s, you on your spiritual journey, sort of maybe not away from, but a divergence from organized religion.
Yeah.
and meditation becoming a concept in our household that was talked about. I did my deep dive into meditation in the pandemic. Which is where the book kind of came out of that.
You see?
Practice.
Out of silence.
Out of silence and stillness
Came
creation. But what do you think people misunderstand about being quiet or about being reflective? Like, I think it's still judged. Like, I was literally just on a call before we are recording this with a client who is quite type A, quite sort of security dominant, and she's in my 12-week program, and the first couple of weeks of the program are tapping into this mindfulness and integrating mindfulness techniques. So my program integrates some woo-woo with some science, right?
I love that.
And she was very sort of anti meditation, like almost like she's gonna do it because it's part of the program and she trusts me.
You hope that she does.
Yeah, I hope. Anyway, that's how she's gonna get a result. But I think, what do people misunderstand about being quiet?
Well, it seems unproductive.
Yeah,
it seems unproductive. I think, what do you have to show for a 15-minute meditation break? Maybe you come out smiling. Maybe externally, you've got a smile. Maybe you're more lighthearted. Maybe you see the funny side of things. But that would be the only measurable effect,
right.
Really. I think you've got nothing to show for it, but maybe a change in your external output. And but hey, I mean,
but I think you're hitting it on the head. Like, the misunderstanding about being reflective and being quiet is that there is no result to it, whereas
external result,
right?
Yeah.
But MRIs show there's increased gray matter in the brain after meditation.
That'd be great. I love that.
You're able to get into the different waves, right? Like, you can get out of alpha and theta waves and sort of into more beta waves. There's a lot of scientific research now. I mean, the ancient wisdom and the Buddhists and the Eastern medicine and all of that, they've been, touting meditation for thousands of years. But with our technology now, we can actually see through MRI and through some of these scientific studies that there is physiological changes that happen within the body. And so then the contrast of that, like, if we don't allow ourselves rest, if we don't allow ourselves that space, what happens? Like,
well, you wear out. You wear out.
Yeah.
I think you wear out. Like, I think your patience patience wears out. I think your capacity to hear anybody else, you don't have the capacity to take anything in.
Right.
And I think your silence allows, it's almost like an evaporation process of, worries, troubles evaporate, and there's more space in there. There's more space to hold things, and there's more space to give things.
Right.
And I think it's a practice we need to teach in schools, personally.
Yeah.
I think we need to teach it in all kinds of places and homes. What would be the harm in having our kids gather after supper for 15 minutes and just be really quiet and silent?
Yeah. Because I think it reset, like, from a spiritual standpoint, you're looking at it from contemplative angle, right? So we're going to have more creativity, more innovation, so on.
More energy.
But from this science-based, like, I have a kinesiology degree, so, like, what's happening for our nervous system is actually a calming, a grounding, a resetting of our nervous system, right? If our nervous system is on high alert and it's in that kind of fight or flight mode,
Yeah.
you can't make the crisp, sharp decisions that you need to make, and your synapses don't quite fire and connect the same way.
Yeah.
So
perfect time in winter to curl up under a blanket, put on a candle, get quiet, give yourself 15 minutes in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, and see what a difference it makes. It's an amazing practice.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, slowing down feels really uncomfortable for many of us. I think, again, if we subscribe to the hustle culture, if we are running at a pace, like if we feel like we're behind and we have to catch up, or if we feel like we're trying to reinvent ourselves and you know, we're trying to run at a particular pace. I don't know why that keeps happening, but it does. But slowing down when you're trying to speed up, right? Slowing down feels really uncomfortable when you're trying to get ahead, or you're trying to achieve, or you're trying to accomplish. Slowing down feels uncomfortable.
Counterintuitive almost.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah. And I mean, what would you say to if you've made 5 appointments in the morning, that you bump one of those to the afternoon and take that time to do some journaling or reflecting or that type of thing. I mean, creating more space in our calendars is almost essential. Really.
I think so, because it's in that white space. Like we used to talk to our burned out clients about that. Like if you're back to back, Zoom meeting, or in person, whatever is happening, and there's no white space in your calendar, then you're not able to come up with the ideas. You're not able to be creative and innovate. You're not able to influence the same way, right?
You don't have dry mouth.
Also that.
Because you're talking too much.
You'll also have dry mouth.
Dry mouth. It's a thing.
How does rest help us hear our intuition more clearly? Oh,
yeah. I mean, I have my best moments in the summertime because the pace is slower. There's more space. Nobody's running around like crazy in the summer because it's too hot, and I guess it's too cold in the winter. So there you go. But we've got fall and spring. That's it.
But I think your intuition, inner wisdom, you know,
your voice,
your inner voice.
Yeah.
When you're in the pace, right? When you're in the hustle, the grind, it's too noisy to hear your intuition.
Yeah.
So the rest helps us hear our intuition more clearly, I think, because it's quieter.
Yeah.
Right? And that inner voice can come up.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
And I think it allows you, I mean, you know, I say the voice of God, but it allows you to hear your inner wisdom, your inner voice, your creativity has a chance to bubble up to the surface, and you're not filling your mind with constant problems that you have to solve, or rules or shoulds or any of that type of thing. You put all that aside and you just allow the space to speak. And I mean, I think if kids were introduced to this at an early age, I mean, we'd have a different generation, you know, really. And families can do it together. I mean, you know, in the church, we do a lot of family type activities, and so I mean, it's not something that I mean, kids can do it very much better than we can.
Yeah, I've noticed that when I've done meditation with my kiddos.
Yeah.
Like I have ADHD, and so it's really challenging, I find, to like quiet the monkey mind. But somehow, I don't know, my kids seem to be able to kind of get into that meditative state fairly
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Now I know you're much more faith-based, obviously, as a minister. My approach with my clients isn't necessarily faith-based, but I do subscribe to this notion of mindfulness practice and meditation because at the end of the day, rest isn't lazy; it's regulatory, right? It's regulatory for your nervous system, for your brain, for your to help connect those ideas. So rest is not lazy. I think we need to reframe that idea, and that aligns with this season of winter being more restful, being more inward looking, being more
Yeah.
contemplative.
And I do think we lose contact with the earth in the winter because we can't walk barefoot outside. We can't touch the ground, the grass, the dirt. We got boots on, we got, all the ski equipment and everything. And I think we get separated from our source of energy.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think we feel tired, really. When you say, like, in the winter you often feel tired, I think it's because we're not getting that earth energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm a barefoot walker all summer, and it kills me to have to put shoes and boots on all the time. You too.
Yeah.
You don't even wear socks.
Yeah. Love me some bare feet. Any funny or humbling moments where your body forced you to slow down? I mean, I'll share.
You share.
I'll share. So I've actually burned out twice in my career. Once when I was running gatherings, I was running an event management company, and can I say balls to the wall? Like, is that a thing anymore? I don't know, but I was balls to the wall. But I was running at a pace that just, and I remember we were putting invitations together for an event, and when you physically sent invitations, still you didn't use like Evite or whatever. And I had an intern working for me at the time, and I thought I'd given her clear instructions on how to mail out these invitations. So I gave her like the stack of invitations, the stack of envelopes, the stamps, the return address labels, and the regular labels. And I think I left the office, and I don't know.
That was your first mistake.
Right, yeah, for sure. But I was already in burnout, I think, if I'm honest. And I remember coming back, and the stamp, so if you're looking at the envelope, the stamp was on the left-hand side, and the return address label was on the right-hand side of like 500 invitations for this fundraiser that my company was responsible for. Like, just ridiculous.
Did you mail them anyway?
No, I couldn't. I mean,
is it not legal?
They wouldn't have. Canada Post wouldn't have taken them. Like, they would have been like, screw you. Like, subscribe to the convention of stamp. Like, but I didn't have the capacity in that moment to give her any patience, any grace, any kindness. And I think after I yelled...
You didn't laugh?
I did not laugh. I mean, I'm howling now, 20 years later. But I remember in that moment having zero capacity for this fuck up, pardon my language. And I lost my shit. Like, I just lost it. And then I was bawling, and then it was a scene. It was a whole scene. And if I think about it now with hindsight,
you could probably have laughed.
Yeah, and why would she have known how to do that when
nobody sent letters?
Nobody really sent letters. Like, so she was an intern. She was probably 20 or 21 21 or something, maybe not even, maybe 19, and she didn't know, and I didn't explicitly say it, and I'd left the office because I was just so at capacity for the day. So yeah, a humbling moment where my body forced me to slow down, because I think after that I put myself in timeout. Like I just it's like
she probably quit.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was like a blur. It was like a blur. That whole time was a blur. But yeah, I didn't have capacity. I didn't have patience. I couldn't even access patience, even if I'd consciously wanted to. I was so burnt out. Do you have any funny moments where your body,
where my body
forced you,
what forced
to
me
slow down?
Well, I mean, I remember when I was in my theological studies, I remember they sent us into the chapel because we were going to practice meditation. And he spread us out in the chapel. And at the time, I was a single mom, and I was commuting on the train and back and forth. And I went into the chapel and fell asleep.
That's amazing.
I sat in the pew probably, I don't know, half an hour, sound asleep.
Snoring?
I don't know, maybe. And I guess one by one, the others went back at the end of their practice, and I was still in there asleep, and somebody had to come in.
They're like, I'm sorry.
Somebody had to come in and get me. Oh, that was embarrassing.
Oh my goodness.
But
so
your body tells you.
Your
right?
body
Your
tells
body
you.
tells you that you need to sleep, you need to rest, you need to rejuvenate, and you need to empty out some of the stuff.
So listening to your body, I mean, I think maybe that's when we talk about inner wisdom. I think there's a few things. There's the inner wisdom of knowing your true self. And then there's this inner wisdom of knowing what you need.
Yeah.
Right? And knowing when you need rest.
Yeah.
And not judging that. Not
allowing it.
Allowing rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not judging yourself for it. Like no guilt.
Yeah.
Right? Like your guy from The Mystery, be unapologetic about
Put
rest.
your sign out.
Yeah.
I'm on a meditation break.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're laughing about it, but you know, it really is. It's critical to maintaining your mental and spiritual health, right? You can take all the vitamins in the world, but if you don't take care of the other stuff, you know, you're going to be short-tempered, impatient, sad.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah. So then what becomes possible when we stop filling every moment with noise?
I think we're happier. I really do. Like we're not flying from one thing to the next, you know. We're not, you know, putting on one outfit in the morning for something and then changing, putting on another outfit in the afternoon and running back and forth. But I mean, you know, you're in the season of your life where that is almost the menu, if you like. I mean, you've got your morning routine, you got to get your kids to school, get them on the bus, make the lunches, make the breakfast, clean it all up, change, shower, you know, get ready for work. I mean, there isn't a second where you can sit in the morning. My season doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
You know, my season is I can take my time over a cup of coffee. And I honestly think, now you can give me feedback, but I honestly think I'm nicer now than I was when I was younger.
Am I allowed to say this?
No, I think I am.
I would say it's softer, maybe.
Yeah.
Like less rigidity.
Yeah.
And and I think
I feel more relaxed.
Yeah.
In this winter of my life.
But you're also a high achieving woman, and so I think message to high achieving women who, you know, quiet can feel threatening right, to a high achieving woman, it can feel lazy, it can feel unproductive.
Right.
And you certainly had those seasons of your life where you were
certainly did.
driving.
I certainly did.
I mean, you made a big pivot from teaching to go into ministry. And that, I think, was driven by an internal desire for more, right? You didn't, maybe you can talk about that, but like as a high achiever, you wanted more. Teaching didn't sort of fit the bill.
Well, children.
Fair.
Children.
Small children.
Yeah, small children.
But listening to your inner wisdom, listening to your intuition of making that big pivot, that knowing teaching wasn't right for you long term.
Children.
And sort of moving into this other career space. Very brave.
But I think again, I mean, I just want to add to that I never felt like I had extra courage or extra bravery or anything, because I didn't feel afraid, and that was because of my faith. Because I felt, I strongly felt the leading, I strongly felt the guiding, and I knew I'd be taken care of, and I was.
Right.
So it didn't, I mean, there were times when I, was obviously bawling my eyes out, or,
but you can probably look back and say it took a lot of bravery.
I
and
guess,
give yourself that credit.
I guess. I mean, I don't know if I need that credit, but I do feel, I don't feel like I had any choice, actually.
So this is, that's really interesting, because I talk about this in the book, actually. That moment in my life, as I was 7, 8, 9, something like that. And for me, when you went back to school to do your master's, that was like, it just felt very binary. It just was like I mean, this is, again, my childhood lens. When I was reflecting on it, when I was writing the book, the reflection was, oh, well, mommy she didn't like what she was doing, and so she had to do something else. Like, it was just like not a choice. Right. Like,
it wasn't an inner choice.
And whether you call it a calling, or your what you were meant to be and what you were meant to do, I don't know how you identify it, but for me, in my childhood lens, it was just very
Black
binary. It was very black and white.
Yeah.
It was like, well, she doesn't want to do that anymore, so she's going to do this. Like, it was just like, that's easy. That's like an easy choice. And I think this is what a lot of my clients struggle with, is they sort of instinctively know they're not in the right profession, or they know they're not doing the right thing that's aligned with who they are. They're not congruent with their true self.
It's an inner knowing.
But what you did was you took that inner knowing and took the step to actually do something about it, right? The action. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, is not taking the action to make it different. So they whinge and whine, or stay stuck and burn out.
But you have to be willing to have a card table in the kitchen.
As furniture.
You have to, I mean, you have to be willing to ignore the typical niceties of, furnishing a house or whatever.
Yeah, right. And I think what I identify with is this contentment. Like, a lot of my clients are looking to feel content, and back to our conversation about meditation and inner wisdom, and getting quiet, getting reflective. You become happier through that reflective process. And even if, like, day to day, I wouldn't say that I'm like, every day I'm joyful and happy. But I would say what's happened for me since taking the leap, right? And I'm still figuring my leap, right? I'm still becoming.
Aren't we all?
But there's this contentment.
Yeah. You feel it, right?
I feel content.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that's
yeah.
That's a huge contrast for me anyway, from when I was doing work that didn't align with who I was or didn't allow me to reach my full potential.
So you know you're in the right place.
I do.
Yeah.
So this kind of work that we're talking about, right? Getting quiet, getting reflective, slowing down, is it enough to just listen to ourselves? Is it enough? Like, I know a lot of people don't even know how to be quiet or how to be alone. What would you say to those people? Like, is slowing down enough to listen? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a process, and I think as much as we can, we train our children that rest isn't laziness, and being bored is okay, and having absolutely nothing on your agenda is okay. Swimming or lying in a hammock or reading a book or whatever it is, it's okay. And it's okay to do it alone. You don't always have to have a gang of people. You don't have to have your husband, your wife, your children. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to allow that external energy to get quiet.
Yeah.
Because everybody brings energy to things, right? Some's happy, some's sad, some's angry. And you pick that up. Not you, but we as humans tend to pick up that energy. And that can sometimes be draining, you know? And
so wrapping up this conversation about hibernation and the season that we're in, from a calendar perspective, again, in Canada, we're really in the depths of the cold winter season. So if someone wanted to honor this season, what's one small thing they could try? I mean, we've talked about meditation, we've talked about getting quiet. Is there anything else that someone could do to honor this season?
Well, I think your example of going out every day in spite of the cold and walking and enjoying the quiet. Sometimes you walk with a friend, but sometimes you walk by yourself. We walk our dog every day. We often don't talk to each other, we just walk and the dog is playing and we're out in nature. I think being out in nature, that's a huge one for me.
Yeah. I would also say, so I love that. For someone I'm in my late 40s, and so someone in my sort of season of life where we're constantly trying to optimize and maximize and hack, right? It's like everything, we're trying to hack everything.
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means.
That's so funny. Okay, so
you can tell me after.
Okay, well, it's kind of like optimization, but it's like, how do you hack the system to like what's the shortcut or the
sounds aggressive,
right? Yeah. And so, but these are the messages that we're getting on social media, and we're constantly being bombarded with these messages of like optimize and hack and right? Crack the code.
Have to go hack.
Get the cheat code on how to, and so rather than so to honor this season, I think from my perspective, instead of walking with a podcast on or
Even if it's this one.
Right. Or instead of like journaling your goals, you know, or instead of trying to multitask, right? Like while you're making dinner, listening to a podcast, and while you're trying to get your kids out the door, you've also got something in the oven, and you get, you know, instead of trying to multitask, maybe to honor this hibernation season, to slowing down could look like being less optimized.
I can't multitask anymore because I forget. If I've got something in the oven and I'm doing something else, I can't do both. That's my season.
Burning the house down.
I'm there in the season of I can't multitask. I'd like to,
right,
but I can't.
I love that.
So, the winter of my life is about, gee, I don't multitask anymore. One thing is good.
Right. And allowing that to be good.
Yeah.
Does it feel awful?
No, it doesn't. You can only do one thing because it's true. Because, you know.
And that doesn't feel shitty?
No.
You don't guilt trip yourself?
No. Like if I have to pick up Grace from school, I write it down in really big letters.
Right.
Pick up Grace from school.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And then I can't do a shopping trip at the same time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But I'm happy about it.
I love that.
I'm happy. Like I think it's okay.
Well, I think maybe the reframe then for folks in my season.
What are you looking for?
Well, I dropped my pen. It doesn't matter. But is like
be okay with it.
Be okay with it. So go out for the walk.
Yeah.
To your point, but you don't have to have the podcast going. You
Make
don't
snowballs.
Yeah. Right?
Throw them at people.
Journal, but just journal from like a standpoint of your inner wisdom, your flow, like what comes out, versus giving yourself the task of journaling and goal setting, and it being
or journal with magic markers for a change.
Yeah.
Like
right? And allow it to be less productive and prescribed. Like it doesn't have to be one more thing on your to-do list for this season, right? For this rest, reflective, slowing down season. Maybe remove some of the expectations and remove some of the requirements.
Right.
Like
because the trees aren't doing anything in this season. Look at them.
This is it.
They're naked.
This is it.
You know.
They're naked.
Well, they're not growing. They're dormant. The animals are sleeping. You know, everybody's quiet.
So reflection is productive.
It is.
It's preparation.
Yeah. Think about the spring and what'll come out.
Yeah. Ooh,
the animal in you will come out.
Exciting. Anything we've missed on this topic of rest, seasonality, inner wisdom?
Don't you think it's about accepting who you are at any given time in your life, which I'm as guilty as the next person in my younger life. It never felt like I had done enough, you know.
Yeah.
And now I can say, you know, I'm looking at a pile of stuff on the floor in my office, and I've been wanting to file it away, and I haven't done it, and I don't care.
When did that change? That lack of guilt, because your 40 something self would have given you grief and guilt and messages of not enough enoughness.
Yeah.
It's not a word.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know when it changed, but I do know that you know, if I haven't got everything ready, for example, when somebody comes over, they pitch in. You know, when I was younger, I had to have everything finished everything on the table, everything ready to go, or I just couldn't live with myself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess the message is be okay with yourself, and no matter what the circumstances are, because I think happiness is there.
Yeah.
I think that's where happiness is like being okay with ourselves at whatever stage we're at and whatever we're doing. And, you know,
That feels lighter somehow as you're saying that to me. I'm like, ooh, that feels lighter.
Like to be okay with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this concept, I know I was just joking a minute ago about enoughness, you know, not being a word. And it's a word, it's actually a word that I use a lot, much to your chagrin, I'm sure, as a former English major. But I think a lot of my clients struggle with that feeling of not being...
Am I okay?
Like,
am I okay?
Yeah. Am I enough? Am I doing enough? Am I being enough? Am I contributing enough?
Yeah.
Like, there's this idea of enoughness.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess let's give our listeners permission during this hibernation season that you are enough, right? That rest is good, rest is preparation, rest is reflective.
Meditation breaks. And if you feel like cutting something out of your calendar, you know.
Yeah.
If you feel like saying, you know, I've done enough appointments today, I'm gonna rebook that for another day. I do that a lot now that I never used to do. If I come to an appointment, even for my own self-care.
Oh, that's interesting.
The chiropractor, I don't feel like going today, so I'm going to move it. I'm going to change it. Whereas I used to be a slave to my day timer.
Right.
I was. I'll admit it.
Yeah. Is there anything we've missed?
I don't think so.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Nothing in nature blooms all year long. I mean, regardless of where you are, even in Hawaii, your favorite place on earth.
Yeah. There are things. Plumeria. It doesn't bloom in February.
Great example. Thanks for that. So, you know, nothing blooms all year long.
No.
Winter isn't a pause. It's a process. Right?
Yeah.
It's not a pause. It's a process.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Again, if we look at nature as our example.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The bulbs have to go into hibernation, and they have a cycle, right?
Yeah.
Everything in nature has a cycle, and we give ourselves permission to rest, reflect, and get quiet. Something deeper starts to wake up.
Yeah.
Right? Our intuition, our true self, our essence, right? That soul kind of starts to speak to us when we give ourselves that permission to rest and reflect and get quiet. So if this conversation resonated for you, you know, you don't need to do anything, right? But just be, and just notice, maybe for the next few days or few weeks, notice how you're feeling and if you're aligned with the energy
lighter
of this season. And, you know, if pay attention, you know, and let the wisdom that's already inside you speak a little louder, right? So if you can quiet some of the external noise and you can quiet some of this internal noise, you know, does your intuition, does your inner wisdom speak louder? Like, does that message get louder? You know, and if you're feeling called to go inward with support, we're here for you. Different approaches. Mom's approach is a little more spiritual and faith-based. So if that resonates, you know, reach out. My approach has definitely got the career focus. So if you're in a season of your life where you want assistance with pivoting or changing careers and you're in about mid career, certainly. But if you want support, you know, to do that inner activation work that we've talked about, I'll leave an invitation in the notes somewhere, or LJ can. My assistant can do that, I'm sure, because she is the tech guru, not me. But thank you for spending this time with us, with,
Absolutely.
this season. We'll do it next month when the energy begins to shift a little bit. So February.
And the groundhog comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're in Canada.
Yeah. Who knows if that
Wyerton Willie.
if he's going to see his shadow or not. But thank you for joining us. This is in season. This was our pilot episode. So please help us spread the word if what you heard resonates, if you enjoyed it. Leave some comments below, share it, do whatever you're supposed to do with it. I don't know. Subscribe to it. Is that?
And if you don't want to do anything, don't do anything.
Honor the season.